Patrick Harvey, what would the Greens in a new Scottish Parliament next month start to do to press for more jobs?
Yeah, well, I mean, I take Mike's point about the Green Investment Bank, but it still seems bizarre and irrational to build a new bank right next to where we've got one, massively bigger, that could be doing the job already. It's about as irrational as building an extra road bridge right next to where we've got a road bridge that we know how to fix. But, you know, that kind of thing happens in politics, doesn't it? There does need to be investment from the public sector if we're going to realise the kind of jobs that people are talking about. Investment not only in things like renewable energy, but also investment in our universities and colleges. Colleges don't get the high enough status that they need. You know, you can have all the highly qualified engineers in the universities that you want, but they're not going to be able to do much without tradespeople and technicians as well. So colleges and universities need to be supported. They've been in line for the cuts so far, and we need to be preventing that. We also need to get beyond this idea, and I thought we already had, that green job strategy was just about X number of jobs which are green. We need to be thinking about the whole of our employment landscape. Every job needs to become a greener job. The trade union movement have been really constructive at having that dialogue and moving the debate on what are green jobs on from a kind of narrow silo mentality into something that's about every workplace, every job, and trying to make sure that everybody feels empowered to make every job a greener job. That's where we need to be going in the future.
Shirley-Ann Somerville, I hadn't identified fortune telling among your political skills, but the next question suggests it's there, all right. Vanessa on Facebook wants to know about your party's position on nuclear power. The Fukushima catastrophe in Japan after the earthquake and tsunami has put nuclear power back nearer the top of the agenda. Yes or no answer, please, from everyone. Would you support the building of a new nuclear power station in Scotland?
Absolutely not.
Mike Crockart?
No, we don't need it.
Sarah Boyd?
We'd want to look at any application on its merits, and there aren't any in Scotland at the moment. And we think that the Fukushima disaster and tragedy must concentrate people's minds, and that's why we're really keen to see that the UK government's conducting a safety inquiry on it, and I think we'd want to look at that very carefully.
Patrick Harvey?
No to new build, but also no to extending the life of Hunterston. That's where the lesson of Fukushima should be applied. Do we extend the life of an already very old plant with a dodgy safety record that's designed is something like 40 or 50 years old already? That's the real lesson.
We consider any proposals to build on existing sites on their merits, but we would say no to any on new sites.
Okay, thank you. Another question just coming in. The tagline is High B, 1902. Some of you looking in will understand that, others will be confused. I'll leave you to do your own research. The question is, the Forth Road Bridge, repair or spend more than £1 billion on a new one? Sarah Boyer.
Well, I'm not sure it's going to be either or. I think the real difficulty about just repairing the bridge as it is, and it's a really difficult issue, is that you have to shut the bridge while you're repairing it. And the Parliament spent months looking at this issue and getting all the engineers in. And I think the key issue is, how do we get more transport across the Forth estuary that is going to be environmentally friendly, whether it's better buses, more train services, as well as looking at that Forth Road Bridge. And we don't see it as a new bridge. We think it's got to be about a replacement bridge, and it is a huge amount of money, and that's why we were so angry that the Parliament's not had a scrutiny in this new bridge contract, and the SNP government signed it off without any of us having any say over it, and I think that's a major problem for the next Parliament. It's already been committed to huge amounts of expenditure without proper public scrutiny.
Okay, why did it not get the scrutiny, Shirley-Ann Somerville?
Well, what we've actually had is an 18-month pre-contract tender process, and we've had the people in front of the Transport Committee in numerous occasions to actually test them on that. So the final contract has been signed between two potential contractors, but we went through an enormous pre-tender process. Now, you're not going to have full public scrutiny of any public contract, but what we have done is had a long process to make sure we tease as much detail out before it's finally signed. But we do need to go ahead with this because, yes, the bridge can technically be repaired, but what you do at the same time is cripple the entire east of Scotland economy by having 4 to 5 hour tailbacks continuously over the bridge for year upon year upon year. And if the bridge master himself, not a politician, but someone with decades of experience of actually working on the Forth Bridge, says that that will be the implication of repairing the bridge, then that's not a risk that I'm willing to take for the East of Scotland economy.
Okay, right, we'll have to leave your comments there because we want to move on to final statements. Just a very quick word from those who haven't spoken about the Forth Road Bridge on the question of repairing or spending over £1 billion on a new one. Patrick Harvey, you referred to it in an earlier answer, so be brief here.
Yeah, well, they're still calling this a replacement bridge. If you've got a bridge and you build another bridge, that's an additional bridge. It's not a replacement, that's a pretense. You know, we don't even know whether repair is necessary. We delay this project even by 6 or 8 months, and we'll get the engineering reports on the dehumidification process. That might tell us that we don't even need to think about this for another 5 or 10 years, and we'll look pretty stupid if we've committed £1.6 billion while every town and village has potholes in its local roads, and then find out that we don't actually need it. If we do need to repair it, there's been a lot of overstatement and hype about the disruption that would cause. It can be done with minimal disruption. It can be done for about 122 million, not 1.6 billion, and that's entirely the rational choice to make. There has to be a road crossing, but we've already got one. Let's safeguard it for the future.
Okay, very quickly from the Liberal Democrats' point of view on the question from High B 1902, repair or spend on the new one. Very quickly.
Very quickly from the MPs that actually the bridge comes across into his constituency. I think that there's lots I could say about this. I think it was an opportunity.
No, I asked you to be brief. I don't want to say lots. Quick as you can, please.
I think we need a replacement. I think it's been very badly managed. I think the decision's been taken too quickly. But yes, we need a replacement. But get on with it and make sure that we protect environmentally those who are going to be affected by it, who are in large part members of my constituency.
Ian McGill.
I think we could be waiting for as long for the repairs to be done on the bridge as some people have been waiting for Hibs to win the Scottish Cup. I think we very much need to carry on and get going with replacing the Forth Road Bridge. I would have liked to have a little bit more scrutiny. I share concerns on the scrutiny of the project, but the project itself, let's get on with it.
Okay, I think we've actually got time for one further very quick question, and it comes from Kate on Facebook about the question of ditching the cars and using the bikes for shorter journeys. What can you do to make it easier? Mike Crocker.
Very briefly, because I'm taking it out and still being rushed, multimodal. We need to get to the point where you don't have to use the bike for the whole trip. You know, we talked earlier on about the London experience, Boris's bikes. You know, I don't have a lot of time for Boris, for very much of the time, but it's been a massive success in London. We've got far more people now using bikes, so it answers the safety aspect. And it does allow people to use a bike for a proportion of a journey and then switch to a different sort of transport. We need to be doing that in Edinburgh as well. We need to be having buses, trains, far more of them that are outfitted to be able to take bikes for part of a person's...
Right. Shirley Ann Somerville, very quickly on that point.
It is all about improving safety to ensure that people have the confidence to actually go out on the road. I know that's what stops me taking a bike into the city centre. So we need to get away from people like myself who are willing to be leisure cyclists to actually people who will use that. That is all about safety, whether it's improving potholes, which is an enormous issue for cyclists, or actually looking to improve our road network so cyclists actually have more a priority and they don't feel that they're an afterthought when we're designing our towns and cities.
Okay, thank you. We're moving to the witching hour, and that is the opportunity for everyone to tell everyone online why they should vote for you. Ian McGill.
Well, we believe that it's a responsibility to create a clean and healthy environment to pass on to our children, and that's why we put green issues back at the heart of our politics, and that's why they will be at the heart of our government.
Patrick Harvey.
I'm struck by the number of people who've talked about what we should be doing today. We should be doing more insulation, we should be investing more in public transport and walking and cycling. I'm reminded of the thick of it, when the hapless minister is on the phone to the Prime Minister and is told his great new policy idea is exactly the kind of thing we should be doing, and eventually has to, get a bollocking from Malcolm Tucker, who says should does not mean yes. My concern is that these good people who are all talking about good policies will be told by their economic spokesperson or by their party leader at the end of the day should does not mean yes. If you want them to do the things that they're talking about, you need a good strong group of Green MSPs. These issues are in our blood. They're our reason for existing. Put us back into Parliament and we'll make sure that we hold them to their promises.
Thank you. Scottish Labour, why should everyone looking into tonight's debate vote for Scottish Labour?
Because we're serious about the green economy, because we want Scotland to be a better place to live. If we're going to make our climate targets work, we've got to create green jobs, we've got to convert the economy, and that means that this Scottish Parliament is the one that's going to have to actually do the work on energy efficiency, on electric cars, on bikes, on warmer homes, on tackling our zero waste ambition. This is the Parliament where, having set ambitious targets, we need to move on, and our manifesto links climate change with the economy. It is at the heart of our manifesto this time round, and these are serious, practical ideas that come from our own membership, from organisations like Stop Climate Chaos and trade unions. They're eminently sensible and practical. We just want to get the chance to put them into effect and work with people like Stop Climate Chaos and ordinary communities to make this a better country and to create jobs and build us out of the recession.
Thank you. Mike Crocker for the Scottish Liberal Democrats.
Thank you. We cannot and must not underestimate the threat to this country and the planet of imminent climate change. And I believe that the Scottish Liberal Democrat Manifesto takes that threat seriously and proposes real solutions that deliver the necessary carbon reductions whilst also positioning Scotland to take advantage of our enormous potential in green technology and energy production. We have proposals to accelerate massively the insulation of homes and buildings in Scotland, to get us on the path to achieving our fuel poverty and emissions reduction targets. We have proposals to establish Scotland as a net exporter of clean green energy, generating all of our energy from renewable sources and creating thousands of new jobs in doing so. And we have proposals to invest heavily in new green technologies and become a globally acknowledged leader in and exporter of green energy production. We are taking climate change seriously and meeting the challenge head on.
All right, thank you. And Shirley Ann Somerville from the Scottish National Party, why should people vote for you on the climate change agenda?
Because we know that climate change is an exceptionally serious issue that we need to tackle, but also that we need to change Scotland for the better. Those two are combined within our manifesto, which will be published tomorrow. We need to actually look at changing the Scottish society. So we're investing in green jobs, we're changing the way that we do things as communities, as businesses, and in general. That means changing the way that we power our homes, that means changing the way that we travel to work. There are so many different aspects of it that we need to look at. But the opportunity is there to Scotland to not only have world-leading climate changes legislation, but world-leading solutions to that. We have that within renewable technology, we have that potential within Scotland. We're very serious about that being one of our top priorities, and that's why you should vote SNP on May the 5th.
Thank you to all the members of the panel for being a very well-behaved group of politicians. It's a Wednesday night, but there's been no need for yellow cards or even red cards from my position in the chair. Thank you to all of you who've been taking part online with some fascinating questions, and I think one thing I'm confident of is that tomorrow and for the next 2 weeks or so of the Scottish election campaign, we'll be seeing all 5 of these individuals walking and cycling many miles as they seek your votes. From Edinburgh and the Stop Climate Chaos Climate Change debate, good night.